The Statistical Institute of Jamaica recently announced that for the first quarter, January to March 2022, Jamaica had a 38.7% increase in imports while exports were down.
Jamaica's total spending on imports increased by 38.7% for the period January to March 2022. Total imports were valued at $1826.3 million US dollars when compared to $1316.9 million in the corresponding period in 2021. This increase was largely attributable to higher imports of fuels and lubricants, raw materials, intermediate goods, and consumer goods, which increased by 48.2%, 41.1%, and 42.1% respectively. Revenues from total exports in 2022 was $340.5 million US dollars, and this was 5.5% below that earned in the comparable 2021 period. Domestic exports accounted for 85.3% of total exports and were valued at $290.5 million. And this was a decline of 5.8% when compared to the 2021 comparable period. And this was due to the 57.8% decline in the value of exports from the mining and quarrying industry.
In foreign exchange trading for Tuesday, July 19, the US dollar sold for an average of $152.93. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $118.49. The pound sterling traded for $183.67, and the euro sold for an average of $157.55. The following reflects the movement of the JSE indices in Tuesday's trading session. The JSE index declined by 1,091 points to close at over 300,000 units. The junior market index advanced by 5 points to close at over 4,000 units. The combined market index declined by 967 points to close at over 300,000 units. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 1,135 points to close at over 400,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 110 stocks, of which 44 advanced, 53 declined, and 13 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Stocks declined for 1834 Investments Limited, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited, and CAC 2000 Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Access Financial Services Limited, and Barita Investments Limited. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders: Dollar Financial Services Limited with over 8 million units, Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 4 million units, and Fontana Limited with over 2 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Glico Investment Fund was the volume leader with over 5,000 shares, followed by Calypso Macro Index Fund with a volume of 80 shares being traded. Zero securities were traded on the Barbados Stock Exchange. In international news, after nearly half a century operating as a government monopoly, Nigeria's state oil company is now officially a commercial company. But many Nigerians fear the move will lead to higher fuel costs in a country that has benefited from some of the lowest prices in the world. Al Jazeera News has the details.
It took nearly 20 years of parliamentary debates and concessions to commercialize Nigeria's oil company. The government hopes the new firm will attract private investors and cut waste and corruption.
We are transforming our petroleum industry to strengthen its capacity and market relevance for the present and future global energy priorities.
Leading the transformation is an industry veteran.
This company can make quick decisions, can invest quickly, can borrow quickly, can pay back loans when they do, and also, but most importantly, to be accountable to its shareholders.
The oil and gas sector reforms come as global attention moves towards cleaner energy. With proven reserves of 206 trillion cubic feet of gas and hoping to grow that to 600 trillion, official expectations here are understandably high.
For a country so blessed in gas like ours, we cannot be happier and more excited.
But concerns remain. Many here are worried that the era of cheap oil they are used to will soon be over.
In the absence of these working refineries, we import this thing. And if you import it high, then, to be honest, there is a limit. I don't see how government can continue with this subsidy in Nigeria.
At about 40 cents per litre, Nigerians pay less for petrol than almost anyone else in the world. Critics say subsidies have stifled growth and bred corruption. Now, with private investors coming in, Nigerians may have to pay more for fuel. The new company wants to offer shares for sale as early as next year. It's hard to say whether this commercial venture will go the way previous privatized companies, which struggled with asset stripping and corruption, or will prove to be an exception.
In market data for oil prices fell before recouping some losses under pressure from global central bank efforts to limit inflation and ahead of an expected buildup in U.S. crude inventories as fuel demand weakens. Brent crude prices were down $1.82 to $105.54 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude slipped $1.62 to $102.60 per barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Danita Rodney.